Welcome to Lynn Community Television, Lynn's premier public access television station dedicated to enabling members of the community like you to exercise your First Amendment right via broadcast media. We're reporting to you live from the City Council chamber right here in City Hall in Lynn, Massachusetts to bring you the 2015 election night results. Here with me today I have Rick Ford and Jim Carrigan. Guys, I want to thank you for coming onto the program today, and I also want to offer you some time to talk to our viewership about who you are and what you're about. Rick, we'll start with you.
Well, thank you for having us first. Thank you to Community TV. I'm going to miss being councilman. I've been a councilman for 18 years, and I'm not in this election, and I wish both candidates well. It's a very hard job, but it's very time-consuming, and I'm sure both people running for my seat, whoever should win, will do a great job.
Absolutely. Ward 7, a big community within the Lynn community. Everybody seems to know everybody down there, so it definitely should be an interesting race. Jim, you're a lawyer here in Lynn. You also have known your way around a TV set before. Let's talk a little bit about you and what you're all about.
First, I want to welcome the new Ford to the city. Rick had a granddaughter.
Oh, thank you.
All right, yeah,
His
that's
daughter
right.
Erin has a new daughter named Madison.
Madison, give her a shout out. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Jim.
Madison, she's famous today.
3 days old.
So I grew up in Lynn. I went to St. Mary's schools, and I went to Suffolk University and Suffolk University Law School. I got elected to the legislature a long time ago. I was in the House and the Senate for a brief time. Had a lot of fun. Did a lot of campaigning over my lifetime. That's what you want to talk about tonight. I campaigned for the Kennedy brothers. I campaigned for Bobby Kennedy in the 60s in New York and Virginia and California for people that he was supporting, including his final primary in California. I used to do advance work for Senator Ted Kennedy. I did a lot of work for Congressman, my friend, former Congressman John Taney, and that was great experience and great fun. I'm one of those people who find politics exciting. So I hope to talk about some of those experiences tonight.
Yeah, to have you guys on the program really takes a lot of pressure off of me because I'm not a business owner in Lynn. I'm not a homeowner in Lynn, nor have I ever been on a campaign before. So you guys are able to offer us with some valuable insight to what it's like to be a voter in Lynn, what it's like to run for office, and what it's like to own a business and own a home in Lynn. So I want to talk a little bit about the elections and which races we're paying attention to. The Councilor at Large race is heavy as always. So far, wards 1 and 7 and 2 seem to have a lot of heavy votership. Wards 4, 5, and 6 usually drift off, not a lot of votership there. Councilor at Large race, you've got Buzzy Barton, Daniel Cahill, Brian LaPierre, Hong Net, Tim Phelan, and Rick Starbird. Buzzy, Daniel, and Hong incumbents, and the three other guys, Brian, Tim, and Rick, are working to earn themselves a seat onto the Councilor at Large table. We've got the big races 4, 5, and 7 in the ward council race because those are races that are going on. Wards 1 for Wayne Losey, he's the incumbent. He's running unopposed today. Bill Trahant, also an incumbent for Ward 2. He's running unopposed. Darren Sear, incumbent for Ward 3, running unopposed. And then in Ward 6, you've got Peter Capano. He's running unopposed in that ward. It gets a little bit more interesting. In Ward 4, you've got Richard Colucci, who's going up against Ariana Morel Rosario. You've got Ward 5, which is Diana Kachutis, who's going up against Marvin Road Epolite. And then you've got Ward 7, which seems to be the big one in the city. Everybody really wants to know what's going on. Brian Field taking on John J. Walsh. For the school committee members, we've got Patricia Capano, Maria Carrasco, Donna Capola, and John Ford, who are all incumbents. And then our other candidates working to earn themselves a seat on that council are Dolores DeFilippo, Lorraine Gately, Natasha Meji-Madri, June Natola, Jared Nicholson, and Michael Ook. Guys, quite the election race so far. We've had some ups and downs in regards to votership and voting polls. I'd like to open it up just to talk a little bit about the voting day in Lynn. All right, we were talking a little bit before the program, Ricky. You had said that you were surprised to hear about the numbers down at Breed. Jim, you had talked a little bit about this is a new voting location at the Lynn Museum. How was it down there?
It was great. It was great. I was there for about 45 minutes. The election workers all doing their work. Mary Audley runs a great ship here. She's very smart. She's very honest. She knows what she's doing. She was forced to move the voting place from Ford School, out of Ford School because of the law, and she's done a great job complying with the law. I have the highest respect for Mary. I've worked with that office over the years, and they do a great job. So I don't know what the numbers are at the museum today, but it looked pretty crowded when I was there. We could talk a little bit later about why people vote or why people don't vote if you want. I think it's important that we do.
Sure, we can absolutely dabble into that. Ricky, you're down at Breed today.
Yep.
So big turnout when you were down there, or tumbleweeds?
I got the numbers, and 1,600 seemed a little bit low to me. It seemed very crowded, so maybe there's going to be a late turnout. That was at 6 o'clock. Two popular guys, two well-known guys.
Right.
So I think there'll be probably a big pickup between 6 and 8. But I wanted to say, pick up what Jim said on Mary Audley, what a great job she does, and what a great friend she's been to me for over 18 years. I've been on the council. I've known Mary, and she does do a great job. But the Walsh kid and the Fields kid have both worked very hard. It's going to be interesting. I think there's a little bit of difference of personalities there, so it'll be interesting which way the voters go. So I'm excited to see how that goes.
Great. I don't think I've ever heard anybody say one bad thing about Mary. She gets the job done. She's thorough, and we're happy. We're lucky to have her here in Lynn, definitely, without a doubt.
I'm glad that you mentioned that.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. I want to take some time to talk a little bit about the candidate campaign focus, all right? Well, let's focus on the councilors at large right now. Buzzy Barton, he's an incumbent, Lynn firefighter for 28 years in the city of Lynn. He's done a number of different services and communities. Seems to have a campaign focus of community policing. That's one thing that all the candidates are big about. Public safety, waterfront development, that's something that we see a lot of. We're hearing a lot about that today too. And then ensuring that we're getting grant funding too. So now you guys, I mean, everybody in Lynn knows Buzzy, but we all have a little bit of some stories to share about him too.
I think Buzzy's kind of a lot like me, of the West Lynn, East Lynn thing. We know a lot of people. I went to a neutral school. Buzzy went to English. He coached. I coached. Great personality. Buzzy's just a hell of a guy, and when you meet him, he throws off that persona that he's a good man, and I think that's why he's popular, and we'll do just fine tonight.
Absolutely, I think so too. What do you think?
By the way, Buzzy, the best thing about East Lynn is you can take the bus to West Lynn.
Wow, I heard that differently, but go ahead, Joe.
So Buzzy is the best. If you walk into a restaurant with Buzzy, if there's 100 people in there, 98 of them know Buzzy, and they're happy to see him. Hey, Buzzy, how are you? But there's a lot of substance to Buzzy. If you read the interviews in the Daily Item this week, Buzzy had some very sensible things to say. He talked about getting a city planner in the city of Lynn. If you get a city planner, you can maybe expand the tax base. If you expand the tax base, then maybe you can fund community policing, which, as you said, everybody's in favor of. The police love it, and certainly the neighbors love it, because they get to see a policeman a woman right on the block. So Buzzy's been behind that for a long time. His mother and I were great friends. You may know of his mother. She was an activist in Lynn for her whole life. I did her eulogy when she died, and she was a fine woman, and Buzzy has her values, and they're great values. So that's not a campaign speech, by the way. I like all these guys in the election, but Buzzy's, you asked about Buzzy.
He's done a lot of good work, so I think a lot of people have a lot of good things to say about him. Again, we just want to invite our candidates that if you want to come down and have an open discussion with the panel, feel free to come on down. We'll give you a couple minutes. Rick, looked like you had something to add.
Yeah, I had one story about Buzzy. We had a hard time. It took a couple of years to get the bond money, and I had been fighting with both mayors, not fighting, but approaching them about financing the new basketball and tennis courts. Mr. Devon, the athletic director at Classical, was adamant what a disgrace they were, and he was right. It took a long time, and finally we got the bond passed, and that was part of the bond. I didn't approach for the new backboards because we got the work done on the basketball and tennis courts, and I was happy. And someone approached me about getting the better backboards. And Buzzy had stepped in where I had been working on this so much. Buzzy stepped in, and my point is, the support system for the council at large is what Buzzy did, and they got the new backboards over at Breed. So that kind of team thing is very important. You know, you feel like you're overwhelming them with your requests. So when the at-large people step up, I guess it's just another plug for Buzzy, but he really helped the kids in West Lynn with the new backboards also.
Collaboration is a huge part of effectiveness, especially within a community as large as Lynn. So, you know, I think this just really speaks to what our votership should really be looking at in candidates when they're voting. They should really be looking at, you know, are these guys willing to cooperate? Are they willing to collaborate? Are they willing to compromise on their end? Do they have an agenda? Buzzy, we talked about him. Beating a dead horse now. Let's move on.
Not yet, Buzzy. Don't say that.
Also, Danny Cahill and Hong Net and the other at-large fellas supported the bond, and we're all part of the team that rolls to the finish, you know.
Yeah, there are other guys to thank.
Right.
Now, speaking to Dan Cahill, he's another incumbent. He does some work as a lawyer. He's very heavily involved in the community, Friends of Lynn and Nahant Beach, Lynn Democratic City Committee, just to name a few. Public education, public safety, economic development in the city, 3 subject categories that we see a lot of today. I've had a couple opportunities to work with Dan and doing TV shows, and I love working with that guy.
He's the best.
He's funny.
He's hilarious.
He's
the funniest guy in the council.
Yeah,
dry humor, like.
Huh?
Kind of like a dry humor.
Yeah. But you got to be ready. Like, if you're not ready, he's just going to keep razzing.
Sharp. Yep.
Yeah. But I mean, I like Dan. I think that he does a good job. Very presentable. He does. I think he does a pretty good job, and he's fun to do TV shows.
He does a
with.
great job.
What do you guys? Anything to add about Dan?
Oh, no, I agree completely. I had him on my TV show, and we talked about his role as the council president, and he did a great job. He's very smart. And he's very funny, and we worked in campaigns together. He's just a good person and a good man to work with.
Yeah. Dan's the kind of guy that, like, when you see him in the community of Lynn, he's got the tie and the suit on, and he's kind of like, I'm not sure if I really want to go and bother this person. But he's very approachable.
Oh, of course he is.
Very, very much so.
Great family. His mother's terrific. She's been active in Democratic politics for a long time.
Oh, my God.
His wife and daughter are beautiful and great. His wife used to rent an office in my building.
Good genes. These are definitely the Cahills. Anything to add?
Danny's great, shows great leadership. We elected a good president, Jim Cardell, Salvi Migliaccio. I've been very fortunate with Mayor McManus, the people I've got to serve under Mayor Clancy, and then again the council presidentships with Salvi and Tim Phelan, and most recently Dan Cahill does a great job.
Okay. We've got Brian LaPierre, who's very familiar with Lynn, not very familiar with the candidacy or running or having any types of elections. He's done some work as a Lynn teacher. He's done some volunteer work with the Lynn Shore Little League. He's been involved in his community, been a political leader, public education, a big part of his subject focus, considering he's been a teacher in the past, a big part of what he's campaigning about, as well as public safety, clean streets. Seems as though a lot of people have been very much concerned with the heroin epidemic in Lynn throughout the whole entire country, not just Lynn alone, but public safety it's kind of steered away from crime so much and more like we have to help people. I don't know. Moving forward,
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah,
police officers told me the same.
Yeah, like, I mean, I don't know. I don't have the words to put it in, but yeah, like, I mean, as opposed to like arresting bad guys, you're trying to help sick people.
Some psychology involved in working with the community.
Economic development is a big part of Brian's campaign. Brian, nice guy, very personable, easy guy to approach. You know, he's the type of guy like you'll see at all your kids' baseball games. You chat a couple minutes, and see you later. Anything to add on this guy?
I'm curious to see how he does tonight because the word on the street and from what I've seen stopping in my restaurant, and he's probably worked the hardest of anybody.
I would agree.
He's been everywhere.
I mean, based on looking at it from the inside out, he's got signs, and it's like he's on the street every day waving.
He's worked extremely hard, and I'm curious. I'm excited to hear the results and see how that goes.
Jim?
In my view, he's run a classic campaign. He's done everything that you should do. He's knocked on doors. He's identified a vote. He was out there last night putting door hangers on his identified vote. He's got people pulling the vote out today.
Shut it off.
He had a lot of fundraisers in So I think because of the classic campaign that he's run, I think he takes one of those seats. And for the life of me, I can't figure out any other seats. How that's going to go. You know, they're all great guys. They're all friends. And I can't figure out who's going to win. I haven't seen any polls at all. So we'll see the real poll in a short while. But.
Yeah, he had a ton of support, Brian did. Do you think that has any correlation to him being a teacher in Lynn?
Yeah, plus he likes the action. You know, some people in the city just love political campaigns, and he's one of them. He and I first hooked up when he was 13 years old, helping candidates back when he was 13 years old. Nice. And he's been active in campaigns ever since. So he's made a lot of friends. I think he had the treasurer in here to speak on his behalf. And, he's earned his friendships. And he's called in his chips, you know. So I think and he's a nice guy, by the way. He's
definitely a nice guy.
Yeah.
Next on my list, Tim Phelan. He's an educator, a lawyer too, right?
Yes.
He does a lot. Lynn English graduate, does a lot of advocacy with Lynn Youth Soccer as a volunteer and a board member. He's involved with St. Pius, Friends of Lynn Woods, Friends of Lynn and Ahant Beach, Kylie Park Association. We know Tim's name because of the last mayoral candidate. He was running against Judy, and he had lost, so he came back this year. He's working to get back onto the Councilor at Large seat. His his campaign focus, community development, economic development, and Union Hospital was a big one of his. He seems to be a big advocate for that. What can you guys add to Tim?
He came in and spoke the night of the public hearing for the Union Hospital and did a great job. And you're right, he is a great advocate for that. Former council president, leadership abilities. Also, I've known Tim a long time, a little partial, great guy. I'm excited to get some results. My phone call that just rang, if I answered it, I probably would know something right now. But yeah, Tim's a great guy, and I'm very curious to see how he does in his comeback.
All right, great. Anything to add?
Sure. I worked with Tim 2 years ago when he ran for mayor.
Sorry,
and
I shut my phone off and it rang
he's one of
again.
the finest political thinkers I've come across in this city. He really wanted the job, and he really had a lot of good ideas. The voters spoke, so that's the end of it. But I missed him. When he was council president, he held a hearing in this chamber on Union Hospital, and he did a fantastic job. Remember that?
I agree, yeah.
So I'm mystified why the voters didn't respond to him at least on the Union Hospital issue. But so I can't figure out where he comes in. You know, he's certainly, if visibility counts for something, and it does, he's well known. I mean, his grandfather was a judge, his father was a state representative, his mother was a school committee woman, and he's served on the council for about a dozen years, I think.
Yeah.
So he's well known.
Right.
He's one of us, too. I think a lot of times, you know, when we're working the mayor's race, you hear, he's a lawyer, he's uppity-uppity, and Tim's not like that. He's a great level-headed guy, and
he's a nice man.
We've been friends a long time.
He might have the same kind of deal that I've got. I mean, when you first meet me, it's a lot to handle. After a couple visits, Sean's not such a bad guy.
Maybe I never got that, but you say so.
You like me right away, Rick. All right, good. I got you fooled.
Yeah, classical football.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I was a football guy. He had no choice but to like me then. Next on my list, I got Hongnet, another incumbent. He is... Hong, I'm a big advocate of Hong. I mean, he is... he's an immigrant to America. He's been through a lot of struggle. He's served on a numerous amount of boards. He's been involved in the community, and he's been involved in the Cambodian culture, which is very prevalent here in the city of Lynn. His campaign focus, public safety, public education, economic development, unity and inclusion. Hong came in a few years back, several years back, and shocked us. And I think he's done a pretty good job since he's been here. But this election, I'm not sure. I mean, you got a lot of good candidates running. You got guys like Rick and Tim which are nipping at the heels. I mean, I don't know. Anything to add on Hong and his campaign?
A very nice fellow, works hard, strong in the Cambodian community. If you meet him, you like him.
Right.
He throws up. Good guy.
Easy to like.
Easy to like. Stops in the restaurant all the time, very social, meets the people.
quiet.
I expect him to get back on.
Very quiet.
Very quiet.
Very soft-spoken.
Very quiet, yep. We work together on a lot of issues. Like Buzzy, I have a couple of stories about Hong on tarring some streets and skipping a street to go to something that he was interested in, or him helping me on a different street. We've worked together a lot, and a very good guy.
Okay. Jim, anything to add?
Yeah. I thought he might lose the election this year until about a month ago. And I've seen him everywhere since then. He's campaigning well. By the way, his strength goes well beyond the Cambodian community. He's well liked throughout the city. He's very smart, and I have some results. I don't know if you want to share them or not.
I'm asking him.
We have some. Oh, we already have some results. You guys are ready to go. We picked two guys, good guys to have on.
I didn't call back. He probably has Texas.
You got. I would say have him text
I
you.
have Ward 7 results.
Ward 7 results.
For the Ward 7 councilor.
Yeah, so that's a big one. Why don't we jump to that right now before we
'cause
go?
That's what the viewers
That's a
wanna
big
hear.
one. But why don't we jump to that right now? All right, Ward 7. So this is a big one. Jay Walsh, Brian Field, both Lynn High School graduates. These guys, their campaign focus, you've got Brian Field, who's more so focused on investment in community infrastructure, public safety, development, job creation. You got Jay Walsh, well-liked guy in the city of Lynn, public safety, addiction, community engagement, economic development. Both have a campaign focus which is very big here in Lynn. It's going to speak to a lot of numbers. And that ward, in Ward 7, Ricky, that's your old seat.
Hard job.
Hard job. You've got a community within a community. A lot of people are willing to reach out and call you. Before we announce who won this, let's talk about these guys and what you know about them. Let's start with Brian Field.
I more or less met Brian through this election. He reached out to me early when he heard I was thinking of stepping down. He's nice enough to say he wouldn't run against me, but I told him I was very seriously thinking of stepping down. We talked, and so I got to know him a little bit, very nice fella, and then I saw him at Solomon's at the Wakes and got to know him more, stopped in for breakfast, got to know him a little more. He seems like a real gentleman. I describe those guys as Brian's more of a suit and tie and a professional type person, and Jay's more a dungaree and a baseball cap, and so you have the difference of what you like as the voter, you know, the more professional or the regular guy who's,
right.
You know,
those are two. That's a big thing in Lynn. You get like those kind of attributes. It's like, does he wear a tie or does he wear a hoodie? You know. But I mean, that speaks volumes. Like, it's easier for Lynners to approach a guy like Jay, seeing him in dungarees and a ball cap. You know, his campaign was big in sports and meeting with parents and the student body. And Jim,
Christmas parade, he's famous.
Yeah, the Christmas parade
jumping
is
in after Biker passed.
Right, and he did a great job this year in doing it. So, you know, his efforts definitely speak volumes and his potential as a candidate. We were talking a little bit about Jay's campaign, Jim, before the program, and you thought that, you know, he had done an outstanding job.
He did. He won 13,699. 1,300 to
Go ahead, Jim.
1,300 to 689.
To 689.
Yeah.
So our first official result in the Ward 7 councilor this year is Jay Walsh, and he had 1,300 votes up against Brian Field, 689 votes. That's a big one. I bet we're losing a lot of viewership right now.
I wouldn't have expected it to be that much of a margin, but
I'm surprised.
Congratulations to Jay. He's got
Absolutely.
hard work ahead of him, and I think he's up for the task.
Yeah, I think
Yeah, by the way, don't let the baseball cap fool you. The guy's smart as a whip, and he's got guts, and he's got heart. He's going to be a great counselor.
My point on that is the guy who picks up your trash.
Yeah,
and
I know what your point is. Yeah.
Oh, he's a Lynner through and through. I mean, that's what Lynners want. I mean, you know,
If I could speak to Brian for a minute.
Sure.
This is a tough business, this running for office. You've been doing it for 18 years. So Brian and everybody in this campaign, whether they've won or lost the election, just by showing the guts to get in the election, they did us all a big favor. Mayor Pat McManus used to quote Teddy Roosevelt, and the essence of the quote, I won't read the whole thing, was, the credit belongs, and I'm going to paraphrase here, to the person who is actually in the arena. So it's a hard job to run for office. I had 5 elections in 3 years, And it's a constant world. You're always on the go. You always have to be alert, as alert as you can be. So people are always asking you to do things, from empty the rubbish to file legislation to create legislation. And sometimes people get down on you. When I was in the Senate president told me that of 40 senators, 27 wanted to get out when I was there. They wanted to get out of the Senate. And if you listen carefully to even presidential candidates now, they want to get out of the race, they want to get out. They got to try to do it gracefully, When I was in the Senate, those 27 people were looking for jobs. Like teachers wanted to be Secretary of Education, lawyers wanted to be judges, and so on. And there aren't that many jobs around. Right. There was a Republican governor at the time. But that gives you an indication of how much pressure those people are on. So to Brian and everybody else who competed in this election, I say congratulations, you did a great job. And I'll add one other thing. When I lost in my bid for re-election to the Senate in a close election, I ran, Joe Martin, I think his picture's up on the wall here somewhere. I ran into him a day or two later. And he said, you won't believe this, Jimmy, and I'm sure you're feeling it already, but you're going to be glad when this is over because you get back to a normal life. You get back to watch the Patriots on Sunday without having to take phone calls and all those good, and he was absolutely right. So I've said that to other candidates over the years. So congratulations, Brian.
Congrats to both
and
guys.
By the way, Jay's a friend, and I to fess up, I helped him in his campaign.
Yeah.
I mean, that's no problem. But
he
ran a great campaign.
I mean, it's definitely no surprise that these guys were going to battle it out. Definitely the margin, without a doubt, is surprising to me.
Yes,
but
to me too.
The amount of work that they both put in, it's definitely commendable.
Yep.
And I don't think this is the last we'll see of Brian. I think he'll be back.
Right.
He'll definitely be back. So interesting stuff. All right, so we've got one official tally in, Ward 7 this year and next year. Jay Walsh is going to be the councilor of Ward 7. Ricky, your old seat. You happy about it?
I'm happy. Yep.
All right.
I've known the Walsh family for my whole life.
All
Friends
right.
with his dad.
So let's see, where were we left off? Okay, last guy that we got to cover, we just went over Hong. Last guy we got to cover, I'm a big advocate of this guy, Rick Starbird, graduate of Lynn Tech. He's a business owner, he's an educator, he's done a lot of service down there at Lynn Tech. He loves the school, he loves what the vocational education is all about. His campaign focus, economic development, public education development, community engagement. We know Rick from the school committee last year. He's decided to step it up and run for councilor at large. I think he stands a good chance to find himself a seat. And I think he did a pretty good job campaigning, too. Anything to add, Rick?
Yep. Anyone who's good with tech is good with me. I'm a big tech advocate. Love the school. Rick came by my yard, so I know he was out working. I visited with him a couple of times. He was going up the street. So he worked hard, and I'm curious to see how it plays out.
Right, definitely. Jim?
Great guy. Great guy. I don't know what he's done in his campaign, but I do know, I think it was the last election when he ran for school committee. He went, I think, from 8th place to 1st place between the primary and
That's right, too.
in the final election. So he obviously has campaign skills, and he's very well liked in the city.
Yeah.
So as I told you before we went on the air, I'm having a hard time figuring out who wins the 4 seats.
Right. Those 4 seats are going to be difficult. I mean, I'm sure we could provide some insight on, who's going to get into one of the seats.
Shouldn't we have that now?
We should have that soon, definitely, without a doubt.
And we'll report it as soon as we get it, right?
Yes.
They don't want to hear us. They want
No,
to hear
yeah.
us.
Once we have the numbers for the viewership at home, we are aware that we're not why you're watching the program. You want the numbers. We're going to bring you those numbers as soon as we can, but we figure as you're waiting, bring us some good quality
We
programming.
don't have someone here telling us, the boards and all that.
Yeah, no.
Just
It's just us in the city council chamber. We're all alone right now.
Yeah.
Moving on, we want to take a little bit of time to focus on the ward city councilors and that race. As we know, wards 1, 2, and 3, and 6, those candidates are running unopposed. It's safe to assume that they're going to probably get those seats back unless something of substantial value happens within the next 24
Like
hours.
a huge write-in vote?
Yeah, like Mickey Mouse actually gets it this year.
Can I talk about something
You're
just
safe.
Absolutely.
just for fun? You know, you could have a recount. How does that sound to everybody? Would you like to have a recount in your life after all the hard work you put in? I don't think so. It's a
And
nightmare.
anything.
It's expensive. One time we had an election in Lynn, 1971, and when the votes were counted, right around now, it was determined that they hadn't provided enough ballots. So we had to have a second primary election.
Oh, my God.
So, yeah, that's what all the candidates said. I mean, as a political junkie, I loved it. You know, we had a lot of fun. But it was a nightmare for the city and for the candidates. And you know Patsy Caggiano, you know him by reputation. He was running for mayor then, and he went on TV, and he had a briefcase with him, and he spoke live. He bought time on Channel 4, I think. He said, "Where are the ballots? Where are the ballots?" He says, "I know where the ballots are." And he opened up his briefcase, and he had a bunch of ballots. It was interesting. By the way, he got elected mayor that year after.
Were they the
several
real
trials.
ballots?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
No.
Andy got elected.
But it was a great gimmick, you know.
Yeah.
Patsy was a very smart man, by the way.
I wouldn't be able to add any insight on this, so I'm going to
Okay.
leave it to the pros.
I knew Patsy's son.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
he's just kind of shop. But
Right.
I was thinking McGee and Clancy. What was it, 9 votes?
Yeah, that's what it ended up.
Something
I
like that.
participated in that recount on behalf of McGee and,
Yeah, I mean, just so close.
yeah. So recounts it's a nightmare. And, you know, mistakes are made in recounts, and that makes it a lot worse. Tough to lose an election because you didn't win the recount. Thank you.
So, moving on, we know that those wards are pretty much shored up. The big ones, 4, 5, and 7, we already know. Jay Walsh is the winner out of 7. Ward 4, there's a race going on between Richard Colucci and Ariana Morel Rosario. This isn't the first time these guys have met up.
That's right.
They've met up before. Richard Colucci's been a city council member for 23 years. I mean, here's a guy, a St. Mary's graduate. He's a local business owner. He's been involved in the city. Public education is always top priority for him. Economic development. And he's a big proponent in the residents engaging with the government of Lynn, which you don't see a lot of. You don't see that a lot on people's campaign focus. I think Rich really stands a good chance to get this seat. It's going to be tough to see if Ariana can really pull through. Although Ward 4 doesn't have a great votership, it should be interesting to see what happens, because you never know. Ariana could get a couple hundred extra people to come out and vote for her, and then that would be a huge shock to see. Anything to add about this race, guys?
Rich has done some good work in the downtown. I think he's going to be fine. Another good guy. I keep saying good guy for everyone, but you couldn't ask for a better bunch of people. There may be a couple of changes tonight. There may not be, but you couldn't ask for 11 better people.
I don't think that there's really one guy, like I'm thinking on here, that on the ballot that I'm like, I don't like him.
Yeah,
I like them all. I
no,
like
yeah.
all these
Right.
guys. These
Politicians are likable people.
yeah, they're doing a good
Yeah,
job.
through the years, I think it seems like the people who get along with people and aren't contentious.
Except
and
for the
they
public, they
step
don't
up.
like politicians. But we like politicians.
Now Ariana's campaign focus was interesting to me. She was a big proponent on the residential property tax. She wanted to talk about economic development a lot. She also wanted to talk about restructuring the budget here within the city of Lynn. And I mean, I think that's a lot to really chew off and trying to get yourself a seat. I mean, I don't know. I mean, is it wrong of me to think so? I mean,
No,
I'm all about being a go-getter, but I think at this level, when you get into politics, it's more about like following direction.
No, absolutely
no.
not.
It's all about initiative.
Not if you want to be a statesman or
Yeah,
a stateswoman in
okay.
Ariana's case. No, I disagree.
So you got to have some type of initiative.
Well, I think you should, yeah.
So you think that so her going out and campaigning on this focus probably a benefit to her?
Well, I don't think so, because she can't do anything about the budget,
The
right?
mayor controls the budget,
Right,
but
right.
initiative, like Jim said, I mean, if you go after something, like the breed courts, it takes some time, but you
Yeah.
find a way to do it. So initiative's good, but the council can only cut the budget.
Yeah,
Right, that's what I thought.
Yeah,
too, so, yeah.
it's a difficult. I mean,
Right.
that's a tough promise.
By
to
the
make.
way, Rich is a very charming guy, a great guy, he's a friend, and I think his focus initially was a little bit narrower, but I think he got lobbied by the many civic groups in his ward, and he realized that he better expand his horizon, and he did, to his credit, and I think he's well-liked and popular in that ward, and I think he's going to get reelected.
Little and beach action, he spread himself
Yeah,
out a little
yeah,
bit more.
yeah.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I think it's safe to say, he's done a pretty good job campaigning. And he's well-liked guy in Lynn. He's been doing it in and
Long
out
time.
every single day. So, yep, I mean,
You
wouldn't
did-
be a shock.
You said one thing, and the election's over, so it doesn't make a difference, but for the future, if anybody wants to run, you're absolutely right. If Ariana got a couple of hundred more votes, or whatever it takes, anybody could win any ward in this city if they wanted to, if they worked it smart and hard. Politics is hard work. You don't just put your name in the ballot. For those people who think that happens, they're dreaming, because they'll get wiped out. So I just say that I always encourage people to get involved.
As hard as it is to campaign and to get elected, it's going to be even harder now. You're involved in every neighborhood dispute, every tree trim,
Right.
anyone does construction on their house, the variances, appeals board, planning board, site plan review. Everybody wants a letter from you, or they want you to attend. The development stuff, it's a hard job.
So let me ask you this, since we're on the subject, okay? I mean, the job is difficult. It's not really going to pay the bills. Why do people do it?
Help the community service. I was one of those guys that coached Papuana for years, coached Little League for years, all for free. And when I heard you got a few bucks for being counselor, I was like, wow, I'm interested. For a second job.
Yeah,
But it's a handful.
it is.
You don't get nearly the hours you put in, weekends, and it never ends.
Yeah.
Every storm, every snowstorm. Pick up trash on Thursdays. I have a schedule of water and sewer issues, tree trimming issues, and I've talked to Jay about it, color coding things, fields, I told him, it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
The questions they've asked me that. It's a very tough job, and I wish them well.
Good.
I'm actually going to miss it.
Yeah. We were talking about it. Don't get all choked up on me, Lynn.
No, I'm all right.
That's so far.
I wanted to move on. The last one, Ward City Council's race. Chakutis is taking on newcomer, young kid, Marvin Road, Eppolite. No, it's Marvin Road, Eppolite. Got it right. I believe that's what it is. And he's an interesting kid. He had a lot of interesting initiatives, residential government engagement. He talked a lot about sustainability development, talked about green job creation, and then community development. I thought the kid spoke a lot of volumes. I thought that he had a lot of initiative. I think that, at the end of the day, he's a little bit inexperienced, and it's probably going to hurt him in the race, but I'm not sure what kind of campaigning he did. It didn't seem like there was a lot of social media presence for him. Diana seems to do a pretty good job. Lynn Tech graduate. She's a restaurant manager here in the city of Lynn. She's been involved with the community. Her focus is simple. Like, she is all about resident government engagement. She takes phone calls, she answers them, calls it back, community development. There's no tricks or trades to her. She is all about the city, all about the community, and all about helping the people who need to be helped. This race, Ward 5, not a great votership over there, not a huge amount of people going out to vote. I'm not sure what happened this year, so anything really could happen, but is it safe to assume? I think Chakutis should have this in the bag if she did everything right.
I agree. Diana's popular up in Pine Hill. She's been through the Civic Association, the Little Leagues. Like you said, well-known, good with constituent services. I'm pretty solid she's going to be okay.
I agree with that, too.
All right. So so far we've covered our Councilor at Large candidates. We've covered our Ward City Councilor candidates. We've got one number in, Ward 7. The new Ward 7 City Councilor is Jay Walsh. with a total of 1,300 votes, up against Brian Fields, 689 votes. We're still waiting on numbers. They should be coming into us shortly. Let's move on to the school committee, guys. School committee, big one here in Lynn. Seems as though everybody and anybody who's a Lynner has a vested interest in the public school department here. Let's talk a little bit about this job, the school committee. What's it about? What do these guys do? What are they responsible for, Jim?
The school committee sets policy for the school department. They hire the superintendent of schools, and they negotiate the contract with the superintendent of schools. And then that's their official duties, I believe, as a result of the Education Reform Act 10 years or so ago. But as we discussed before, they do all these things that politicians do. If you look at, like what Ricky said, what he does, he was a coach of Copawana, he was a coach of Little League, he ran the food stand. By the way, you got
concession
you
stands and
got 40 hot dogs for
cleaning the
$100
field.
or something.
Oh, yeah, you got to babysit the till.
But all of the candidates do that. Patty Capano, she's a member of the most charitable family in the city. I mean, she does everything, and her husband and her kids. So it's a lot of work, and they don't get paid. They get health insurance. They don't get paid. So when you ask Rick why did he run, and he said the key thing, I think, and that's public service. What do you got?
Looks like our guys have pulled up some numbers. We got 2015 school committee election results. They all say 0 right now.
Okay.
Eventually there'll be numbers in there. Go ahead, continue.
So public service is the key. Ricky did all this work, and I bet he continues to do it now that he'll have more time. Bob, I'm drawing a blank.
Weber?
No, the head of your Lynn campaign.
Tucker.
Oh,
Bob Tucker, good friend. Feel like your name, Bob. Sorry. He's involved in everything, and he has been for a long time. He's the head of this television company.
Lynn Community Television.
Yeah, he's the head of it.
He's the chair.
He was the chair. I believe he was the chair of Lynn Nahat
Right.
Beach.
Friends of Lynn Nahat Beach.
Right. Yep. And he's the chair of the Human Rights Committee in Lynn, and he's dedicated. He's not just pulling down a title. He does hard work. He's very smart. And if you look at all these politicians, they all have community involvement as part of their resume, and that's great. So what I'm trying to do is drum up more respect for politicians, because I don't think they get enough.
Yeah. They're out there engaging.
People are
their
too
community.
quick to say, oh, they're a bunch of crooks. They
Right.
don't know what you're talking about. Ask some of those people if they voted today. I bet when we find out how many people voted, the percentages are going to be very low.
Right.
And that's not right. You think about all the people who fought and died for the right to vote in this country.
All right.
It's a responsibility. It's something that, it's something as a citizen,
Right.
you don't have a right to have any complaints now. If you're not going to take the responsibility to learn about the candidates, go out and do the voting, then what right do you have to go and poke fun of it?
Do you care about your kid's teacher?
Right.
Then vote, find out who the school committee is and who the candidates are. The Daily Item did a great job
They did.
of interviewing everybody.
They did. They did a great job.
So all those interviews were in the candidates' own words. It wasn't the item writing about somebody.
Right.
It was their own words. So there was plenty of opportunity for people to find out what candidates were all about this
Right.
week.
Right.
Someone told me to keep a voting list next to your telephone, and if people don't vote, why would you take waste your time? I didn't do it.
Yeah, that wouldn't be right,
I never
but
did it. I helped everybody. Sometimes you feel like
Yeah.
a slave, but to Jim's point, people got to register to vote. They've got to get out and get the people in that they like. The voter turnout so low is really depressing.
It's shameful.
It's an inner city of 92,000 people live here in Lynn.
Right.
92,000 people. It's the biggest inner city in America. Lynn, Massachusetts. It's here. It's your home. You guys at home who are watching, you're here. You're responsible for it. I mean, we were founded in 1629. There is a ton of history here. Lynn's been through the development of America.
Lynn.
It's such a great place.
Such a great place.
Yeah. I mean, you got three guys here who are all advocates for Lynn. I think we're a little biased, right?
Yeah.
But we're talking about the truth here, and this is our community. We've been involved in it, and there's a lot of positives to say about Lynn and the people who live here. School committee, it's a big one. We talk a little bit about these guys and, what they're responsible for doing while they're elected. John Ford, Patricia Capano, Donna Capola, and Maria Carrasco, all incumbents. These guys are no strangers to the school committee, running, trying to earn themselves a seat. Everybody really is trying to earn themselves a seat, but you've got some newcomers, outsiders coming in: Dolores DeFilippo, Lorraine Gately, Natasha Midgie-Madry, June Atola, Jared Nicholson, and Michael Oak. These guys, John, Patricia, Donna, Maria, they've got a ton of community work that they've done. Their campaign focus seems to be around improving the curriculum. Big type of one thing that I noticed in doing my research on all these candidates was they want the public schools to collaborate with the committee. And I'm not sure if that had been an issue in the past or if it's something that nobody really had come up about, but that was a big part of it. I'm not sure what's going on over there, but based on our incumbents, it seems like testing is a big issue for the school committee. The development of the school properties, teacher resources, student resources is a big part of it, and also curriculum development too. I'm not sure if you guys can say anything about this as well, but school committee, there's a lot to this, and I'm not going to pretend like I know
Full
about
disclosure, since Jim admitted helping Jay, he helped Johnny Ford, and I think
so.
Johnny's my first cousin. I think Johnny's going to do well. Ward 7, big turnout. I think Donna Capola and Johnny will show good numbers.
Yeah, Patricia's probably gonna. She'll end up doing well. I think. She again,
Patty
like you said,
She does well.
12 years as a chairwoman.
Patty Capano, great person.
Yep.
Love the family.
Yeah.
Maria Carrasco, she's a very well-liked person. Very.
I think all the incumbents get back in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so. So based on these guys who are working to get in.
The Nicholson kid, I like him.
I like Jared too. I think,
kid.
Yeah, classy kid.
In my view, he takes one of those seats.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a good chance that he can do that. He talked about things like higher ed, get kids into colleges. He talked about the trade industry, utilizing Lynn Tech. So getting kids jobs right out of high school. He talked about developing some after-school programs, peer-to-peer programming, some social curriculum. I thought that was a really, he was a very insightful kid, and we'll probably the same age. Sorry, Jared, but he had a lot of good ideas that I think could add a ton of value to it.
But he started that wrestling program in Lynn. He's the wrestling coach for
He wrestled in high school and college.
Eastern Junior High School. That's a free program. It's a great program for kids. And he's another example of, here comes some results, I think.
Yeah,
Gotta have numbers.
We do. Ricky's all excited. Thanks, Eli. Ward 4. So what do we got now, Eli?
Ward 5, 6, and 7.
Okay, cool.
Anything at large?
I will give this to the guy who knows how to read it. Eli Barkas, he is a student intern, our floor director. He's coming down. He's running the numbers up for us. He's got a nice shirt on. He's sweating through it. Really appreciate it. Gotta love your kid, Eli Barkas. Couldn't advocate anymore.
Get your calculators out. These are not totals. These are like...
Precinct numbers?
Yeah.
Okay.
You got just one copy, Jim?
Here, you can take it if you want.
Ricky might know how to read those.
I'm good with not adding, but this has a large on it too.
Yeah. If you give me the numbers, I'll add them up.
All right.
Wow, it's a crazy printout.
We got a printout.
Well, I'll just go in the order they gave to me. Hung Net 122, Cahill
Where is that? Which precinct?
has a poll center and a date and a precinct, 403.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Can you call down to have them indicate which precinct it is, like 443 or 42 or whatever? They have precinct numbers, unless you know the code, you can't.
Right, I don't know the
Well,
code.
our staff, they can hear us right now on air as we're broadcasting right now. So hopefully they can get that detail to us. As we're looking on the screen right now, we've got the 2015 Councilor at Large election results. So
Those are
far,
results?
yeah, those are results right now. Looks like those are totals. So HongNet is he's up to 1,547 votes.
Yep.
Tim Phelan 1,172. We've got Cahill with 1,485. LaPierre with 1,764, Starbard with 1,134, and then Barton with 1,409.
So LaPierre's on top.
Yeah.
LaPierre's on top.
Just switch
Took
them.
them away.
So now what we're looking at right now is award council or election results, Ward 4, 5, and 7. I think that's what they brought us up here.
This is the total on 7, that was correct.
Those are totals on 7. We've got Walsh in there.
Nothing on 5.
Nothing on 5 just yet. Looks like Ward 4 isn't official, but Colucci's leading 240 to
Doubled up.
120. Yeah, doubled up on Natasha Madry.
What's this?
So we've got the 2015 school committee election results. So far, we've got Oak with 1,032, Patricia Capano with 1,183, John Ford with 1,227. We've got June Natola with 629, DeFilippo with 1,020, Maria Carrasco with 1,215. Nicholson, 1,323. Capola, 1,335.
Wow,
Maggie
it's close.
Madry, 496. And our last candidate there, I can't read that name. Oh, Gately. Gately at 1,283.
Wow, very close. If you take out Natola and Madry, they were in the hundreds.
Are these final results?
Everybody's in the thousands.
I don't think that they're final, because if they were final, they'd probably be indicated in red. So I think they were still getting these numbers in. You guys know about the numbers that we'd see. I mean, do these look comparable to total votership in Lynn?
No.
All right.
Everyone is all balled up within 300 votes.
Very close race.
If you take out, no offense to Natola and Modry, but they were in the 300 and 400, so but the other 6 people, 12, 25, 1,020, 1,335, 280, 1,283, 227. Very close.
Yeah, definitely. And you got the front runner right now is Donna Capola at 1,335.
That's that Ward 7 connection.
Yep.
Yeah,
right? Makes sense
7.
what you're
And what's
talking
Johnny
about.
Ford there? What's Johnny's number?
John Ford's number right now is at 1,227.
So there's 100 votes separating them, and that's the Ward 7.
Yeah, I mean, a close second. You've got Jared.
Those aren't final numbers,
No.
based on 2011
Right.
numbers.
Yeah, those can't be final.
No.
I mean, but right now we've got. I mean, this is a very
So
close
that may not
race.
even be Ward 7, so it doesn't really give us an indication.
Right, maybe not. I mean, it'd be safe to assume based on what we know about the
With the
wards.
Walsh coming in, maybe
Yeah.
there's 7.
Yeah. Looks like we've got some more detail here. 2015 Councilor at Large election results. HongNet now stands at 1,547. Tim Phelan at 1,172. Dan Cahill, 1,485. We've got Brian LaPierre with 1,764. Starbar, 1,134. And then Barton with 1,409. No changes there to those numbers. I think staff downstairs doing a good job bringing us that detail.
So far, it's LaPierre on top with Barton second, if that means anything early.
All right.
That's kind of what we said.
Yeah.
Very close race, Councilor at Large race. I mean, you've got LaPierre, looks like he did his job, and he did it
the
effectively.
classic campaign.
We've got the
That's what you
Ward
get.
5 election results. Jakutis is in with a total of 621 votes. The younger kid,
371.
371.
That's relatively close, is it?
That is pretty close. I'd say he did a decent job getting up in that ward
Yeah.
and campaigning. I mean, he really did. I mean, Ward 5 is not great.
Not quite doubled up like Colucci, but
Marvin Road, Epolite, did a pretty good job campaigning this year. Fell short to Jakutis. Congratulations to Diana.
Congratulations.
She's done a good job in the past. I'm sure she'll
Job,
continue.
Is
Diana.
anybody coming down here to talk with us?
Again, we'll let you guys know, any counselors, any counselor at large or school committee members who are elected and want to come down, or even if they just want to come down and talk about their campaign, and have an open dialogue with our panel, we'd love to have you on down. So please come on down to City Hall, room 302, and you can report to Dave Riley or Pedro Diaz, and we'll have you come on up to the City Council chamber to have an open discussion with the panel. So right now we've got the Ward 5, Ward 7 in for City Council. No real surprise there. I mean, what do you guys think?
No, not at all. Actually, I think Diana's opponent came in a little higher than I expected.
I think that was surprising, definitely, without a doubt. I mean, and
But she won, and we all expected her to win, and she did, so congratulations.
Oh, you know what I want to talk about was Lorraine Gately for a second, because I've got to know her the past few years, and I think she's a very nice person.
Great person.
Yeah,
absolutely. Let's talk about it.
She spent some time at Little River and working the corner there, and she's just a hot shit. She had nice people working with her, and I think she has a chance to get one of the seats.
So how was she coming in? Do you remember those results?
Yeah, these guys could probably bring up.
I scribbled.
Looking for the school committee detail, so we can get the Lorraine Gately numbers.
We took out two, Natola
Right.
and Medine. How do you say that name? Mediri.
By the way, June Natola is a very nice person. She got in the race late.
Yeah.
Had she got in earlier, I'm sure
Yeah.
she'd be doing better.
So we have 8 people for 6 seats, if you look at it that way.
Right.
And they were very close for what I scribbled down. Everybody was in the 1,000, 1, 2, 300.
Yeah, close race there. It'll be interesting to see how that stuff comes in. So Ward 7 and Ward 5 have been decided. Ward 5 winner Chakutis. Ward 7 winner Jay Walsh. We're waiting on Ward 4. That's another big one. Rich Colucci and Ariana Morel Rosario are facing off. So wait for that detail to come in. Once we get it, we're going to get it out to you. Right now, the way that it stands, Ward 4, Colucci is on top. He's on top, double the votes to Ariana's 120. He stands at 240 right now. We want to talk a little bit about Gately and the school committee and where her numbers exist right now. Let's see if we can bring that up. It's me. So those aren't the numbers, but eventually we're going to bring those up here. So do you have anything to add about Lorraine? It seems like she's a nice woman.
Yeah, no, just I think she has a good shot at one of the seats.
She's
I
terrific.
find her very personal,
She's
terrific, like Jim says.
She's dedicated.
I've only known her 4 or 5 years. I found out she teaches. My son teaches at Marshall. They're friendly. Joe had nothing but good things to say about her.
Yeah.
Yeah, the school committee at Marshall being fired up there. It's looking good, and that's interesting.
It'll be, the school committee race is definitely going to be tight. I think, those 4 incumbents probably going to maintain their seats there. It'll be interesting to see how Dolores comes in this year. Natasha, I think this is her first year running, so that's new for her. Michael, I mean, his numbers aren't that high right now. I think, just based on my little expertise that I have, it'd be safe to assume that Jared and Lorraine are in good spots to earn those 2 seats, based on the votership
I think so.
that we've got right now.
It seems to be a tradition that somebody closely connected with the school department wins one of those seats. Former principal,
Yep.
like Vinnie Spirito, and I think that applies to Lorraine Gately. She has a close connection where she's been a dedicated member of the Lynn School Department all her life.
She's an advocate for charter schools too, which I found to be very interesting because, one thing I hear all the time, just from my family and stuff, you should get into teaching, there's a pension and stuff. And it's like, I don't want to go through the bureaucracy. I don't want to go through getting my master's degree and going to school at night and dealing with all this. Charter schools presents educators with an option to go in and actually work to their standard, which I thought might be interesting to see what type of educators you could get from a community like Lynn. That was one thing that she had mentioned that I thought would be a great thing for the city of Lynn. We're seeing it right now with KIPP Academy. They're doing an outstanding job up there with those kids.
Well, so is the Lynn School Department.
Yeah, I know. I agree. I'm not taking anything away from
Yeah.
anybody.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm on the fence about this.
I know you're not, but the Lynn School Department has.
I figured out how to read these too.
Huge challenges. What?
I figured out how to read these.
Good.
If we go by Colucci and Rosario, I have Ward 4.
Okay.
And the top 4 in the school committee in that is Maria Carrasco, was high in Ward 4. Donna Capola was second with 46. Michael Oak. Jared Nicholson was third with 38, and Michael Oak was fourth with 37.
Wow.
So that's different.
So
That's Ward 4, but
Ward 4.
if we go 5 and 6 through the last 2, it would be Patty Capano with 33 and And Madry, although he didn't do well as the totals read, he did come in fifth in that, in Ward 4.
Natasha Midgie-Madry.
Yes. And if, in the next one I look at, it tells me it's Ward 7. So if we go to school committee, 222, Donna Capola, 238, John Ford were the top two that Jimmy and I talked about. Ward 7 did turn out and vote for their home bodies.
What were those results?
Donna Capola was,
No, the total results for what? What were the results for,
Ward 4?
Jay Walsh at 1,300?
Jay Walsh. Oh, these aren't totals, because it's 335 to 88, so everything I'm giving
Yeah,
you now is
13, but
finals.
the results I gave you earlier, 1,300 to 689, right?
Yes, I believe that
So
was it.
that's about 2,000 people voted in Ward 7. The total number of eligible voters in Ward 7 is about 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. So clearly less than 50% turnout in Ward 7. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7.
What we're looking at right now are just some of the past numbers and percentages of voterships that have turned out. We've got the 2013 election results and the 2011 election results. We've got some charts ready for you guys, and Jim's got some insight to provide for you. But
Well,
I mean, it's interesting to talk about a city like Lynn. There's 92,000 people, and here we are. We're looking at the 2013 election. 51,000 people came out and voted. All right, a little over half.
not today.
Yeah, no, not today, but in 2013.
Right, we had a mayor's election.
We had a mayor's election, though, right? So in
Yes.
2011, we didn't have a mayor's election. We have 46,000 people came out and voted. So I mean, we're literally just at half of our votership. And it's just
Was it that high in 2011?
yeah, we've got right here, yeah. So you know,
Well-
what? These are slides that we don't have just yet. So this is the registered voters in Lynn. So this is about the registered voters. So I keep expressing that number, 92,000. There aren't 92,000 registered voters in Lynn.
This is what we're
there are
looking for. This is
92,000
totals.
residents. So
Those
this
are
is
totals.
we've got the final numbers here. Who wants to do? All right, here we go. Ricky's all excited about it.
Oh, my God.
So let's start with councils at large.
Brian LaPierre, number 1.
Brian, number 1.
5,631, 21.23%.
Good job, Brian.
Dan Cahill, second.
Dan Cahill comes at number 2.
4,665, 17.58%. Buzzy Barton, third. 4,333. Timeout. Hong Nat, third. 4,561, 17.19.
Hong Net comes in 3rd.
What was that number again, Ricky? 4,000?
4,561.
So for the 2015 election, our councilor at large members are going to be Hong Net, Dan Cahill, Buzzy Barton, and Brian LaPierre.
Right, just flip-flop Net and Barton, but they're still the top 4.
What was
Barton
the-
came in third, Net came in fourth.
What was the fifth number?
Net came in third, Barton came in fourth,
Who was
excuse me.
fifth? Who was fifth?
5th, it was a difference of
Phelan.
1 vote. Phelan,
Starboard and Phelan were just about tied, 1674.
I got
Oh, no, Phelan was only 1374.
That doesn't make any sense.
3,646.
we've got Phelan's numbers up here on the screen at 3,646 and Starboard 3,647. So one vote.
One vote.
So here we are, we're talking about votership percentages, and people at home are like, nah, it's not going to make a difference. And we're at, I mean, not that it does, you know,
It's not for them. But
not for
that's
them.
But the point is good, yeah.
Just to prove the point, I mean, it does. It speaks a lot of volumes. You got to get out there and vote.
What about school committee? Rick?
school
Do you have those
committee.
numbers?
Yep, let me go, I'm going to go percentages, it's easy.
All right. Looks like they've actually got them up on the screen here, Ricky.
Okay. It looks like Donna Capola topped the ticket with 13.44%.
So Donna's going to be in.
Put her number 1. We only have 112. John Ford, second.
John Ford, number 2.
Then we go to Lorraine Gately, number 3.
Lorraine must...
12.52.
Wow.
John's 12.55, so very close. Lorraine got a seat. She's going to be so excited. And then, looks like we move up to Jared Nicholson, 11.86, number 4.
Number 4, Jared.
You're going to have to double check me on this. Let's not make it official.
Yeah, I got Jared up here on the screen at
Yep, number 4.
4,024.
Yep.
Yeah, that'd be him.
We have an 8, 9:15, 10:94. Maria Carrasco is 5th.
Maria Carrasco coming in at 3,712 votes.
I'm very sorry. Patty Capano's 5th. Maria Carrasco's 6th.
Patty Capano is 5th. Maria Carrasco is 6th.
Yep.
So,
Jim, why don't you just glance down that left? I did the 1 through 6.
your 2015 school committee
Want to
members...
double check?
Sure.
Oh, you got it? Okay,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jim.
Your 2015 school committee members are, for this year, we've got Patricia Capano, John Ford, Maria Carrasco, Lorraine Gately, Donna Capola, and Jared Nicholson. Again, we were talking about this at the beginning.
Congratulations to Jared.
Yep, congratulations to Jared. Congratulations to Lorraine. She should be very excited. Retired teacher. I think those guys are going to do some great job, some great work on the council this year.
And the call we did on Ward 7's big good turnout with Donna and Johnny doing
Right.
1, 2. That's
You
interesting.
called that right on.
Yeah.
We've got Ward 4 official results are in. Colucci wins it, 576 votes to Madry's 287 votes. So that's what we've got. We've got Ward 1, Wayne Losey is the incumbent, running unopposed. Bill Trant, incumbent, running unopposed. Ward 2, Darren Sear, Ward 3, incumbent, running unopposed. Those guys are going to be in. Ward 4, Richard Colucci ends up on top. Ward 5, Diana Jakutis ends up on top. Ward 7, we've got
Ward 6.
Ward 6, we've got Peter Capano, who's the incumbent, running unopposed. We've got the Ward 7 candidate, Jay Walsh, who ended up on top, 1,300 votes over Brian Field, 689. Our school committee members are going to be John Ford, Patricia Capano, Donna Capola, Maria Carrasco, Lorraine Gately, and Jared Nicholson. Councilors at large, Buzzy Barton, Dan Cahill, Brian LaPierre, and Hong Nat. Well, I guess Hong must have pulled it out right at the end of it, because he did a substantial amount of campaigning right at the end, and he did it. I mean, can we bring up those councilor at large election results numbers? That's what we've got right now. So looking at Hong comes in 3rd place.
So all incumbents and LaPierre is the 4th.
All incumbents, and then LaPierre is the 4th, right.
And
so,
on school committee, we had 2 openings.
Yep.
And they're filled by all incumbents with Gately and
Nicholson.
Mr. Nicholson.
Gately and Nicholson. Right.
Interesting.
And those guys, I think, that just their campaign focus alone is going to it's going to spice things up over there. It's going to really get things going. The school committee is one of the most involved type of committees here in the city of Lynn. Because you got the parents, you got the student body, you got the faculty who live within the city. You've got people, members of the janitorial services. They're all here. They're all here, centrally located in Lynn. I just got word that we're going to actually run until 9:30 today. Again, we want to invite any candidates who came down to come on down. You can have an open discussion with the panel. We've got our official results in right now if you're just joining us. Let's go over the Councilor at Large election results winners. Buzzy Barton, Dan Cahill, Brian LaPierre, and Hong Net are going to be your Councilor at Large for 2015 term. 2016 term. Your ward councilors this year: Ward 1, Wayne Losey, incumbent, running unopposed. Ward 2, Bill Trant, incumbent, running unopposed. Ward 3, Darren Sear, incumbent, running unopposed. Ward 4, between Richard Colucci and Ariana Morel Rosario. Richard Colucci comes out on top. 23-year city council veteran. I mean, it's pretty obvious that he might come out on top. But again, we were talking about it. Ward 4, not a great votership, not a great amount of people coming out, so anything can happen. Ward 5, Diana Chakutis over Marvin Road. Hippolyte, Marvin, young kid. It shows a lot of poise. I think he's got a lot to offer to the city of Lynn, offer to any type of organization. He's done some work in the past with President Obama in New Hampshire. He worked with Elizabeth Warren, and Senator Walsh. So he's got a future in politics. I don't know if this is the last we'll see him in Lynn, but Diana's going to end up on top in Ward 5. Ward 6, Peter Capano, the incumbent, running unopposed, and then the Ward 7 candidate, Jay Walsh, ended up on top over Brian Field, 1,300 votes to 689. Now we're looking at the school committee. We've got John Ford, Capano, Capola, Carrasco. Those are the 4 incumbents. They're going to stay and be joined by Lorraine Gately and Jared Nicholson. Talked about these guys at the beginning of the program and throughout. I thought they had a lot of good things to say for the community of Lynn. I mean, based on what we're seeing right now, guys, I think that we can be pretty confident in the leadership here in Lynn. I think that these guys are all good guys. I think that they all they've got Lynn's vested interest on their mind. Yeah. And everybody's pretty much...
I think that LaPierre worked his way into it, topped the ticket.
I think Brian LaPierre should write a documentary about his campaign.
He topped the ticket, right, Jim?
Yeah, number one.
I'm telling you, he ran a classic campaign.
Can I tell you one quick story?
Good.
Thanksgiving Day, I was going to run at large. I hadn't made up my mind. I had some health issues, and I was going to hold signs at the Thanksgiving Day game. And a bunch of people, we have a very large Thanksgiving dinner, 5 sister-in-laws, tons of kids, and they thought that was awkward that he was working Thanksgiving Day, holding signs at Thanksgiving Day, and I wanted to do it. So I just kept quiet, saying I never, because at the time I was going to be in before my health issues. But I guess it worked for him. It showed he started it that early.
That's what the Kennedys used to do, run early and run hard.
Yep.
And smart.
Yep. And he did it.
He ran early. He definitely ran early. While working with Brian and having him on the program for, the candidates and stuff like that in the past, he always reminded me of that kid that would, ask for homework before, the weekend. And he is a worker.
I don't know him that well.
This guy's a worker, and he doesn't take any back doors. I think that he's going to get it done over there. Yeah. I think he should even consider writing a documentary. He might get scooped up by a presidential candidate to run their campaign. I don't know. But he did an outstanding job.
At least knock on doors for him.
Yeah. At least knock on doors. He definitely did tons of that. I think he did all right. So congratulations to the candidates.
Yep.
Anything to add, you guys, based on your expertise in Lynn politics, what we're seeing today, and the final numbers?
I would just say very, very, very good campaign, very interesting. I'm happy the incumbents got back in. I'm very proud to have served with those guys, and I'm a little surprised Councilor Phelan didn't do better. A good man, but I guess things move on when maybe it's true the old saying, when you're out, you're out.
Yeah. So any big surprises that we weren't expecting this year?
I'm not shocked. I'm not really shocked by anything. I think I would have thought, if you had to have me go 1, 2, 3, I would have went Buzzy Cahill on that, and I didn't know about that 4th seat. So for LaPierre to top the ticket, that's a little surprising to me.
Yeah, that is definitely surprising.
That's me.
No, I know. I just know what he did, and it wasn't a surprise to me.
Yeah, see, I wasn't part of it.
At the beginning, yeah. Like Jared Nicholson, he did some classic things, too.
Yeah.
That will get you elected every time.
Yeah.
Anybody who gets 5,000 votes in the city of Lynn has gone above and beyond. Anybody who gets over 3,000 votes in the city of Lynn has gone above and beyond. We're looking at Brian's total, 5,000 votes for Councilor at large. That's crazy.
It's hard work.
That's a lot. That's
a
big part of it.
He had a great
It's
flyer
really
with his college, he's from Harvard, and impressive resume.
Yeah.
I'm curious if a year or two ago, when I said to him, when I met him, that thought he should run if I was the first one, or if he had already been thinking about it. So Brian, if you're watching, I can't wait to talk to you about it.
So you knew Brian before, and you were like, hey, you should run.
No, not LaPierre. Nicholson.
Oh, okay.
And we had talked. He was up in City Hall, and he gave me his card, and we met. And then a couple weeks later, we talked again, and I kind of got a little bit friendly. I said, "You should run for politics."
Great presentation,
like
personality.
Yeah, right. Nice guy to meet, young,
Right.
aggressive.
Politics, everybody likes him.
Yeah.
So we just got word we'll be running until 9:30 tonight. I'm not sure why we're going to run till 9:30. It would be nice to get home before 10 o'clock.
Why would anybody want to watch this show now?
No, I don't know. My Nana is definitely watching. Nana is watching right now.
Oh, yeah.
Eli, you can go home. You did a great job. If you need a ride, you're going to have to hang around till 9:30.
Nana, is this Ray's wife?
No. Eli is the intern.
No, you said Nana's watching.
Oh, Nana, yeah, Ray's wife, my grandfather, Ray Donahue, who we were talking about before, and he owes you one.
He does.
Yeah, he owes you a couple.
He's great.
Can I show a picture of my granddaughter? No, I'm only kidding.
You got pictures
Finish the story.
of Madison? Huh?
Man, finish the story, Jim. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. Ray and I, his grandfather, Sean's grandfather and I were friends when we were kids. And we were swimming in an unnamed water hole in Lynn. And Ray started to drown.
Oh, my God.
And I jumped in and I pulled him out.
Where's the boy?
It's a good thing he did,
Wow.
because if he didn't,
Yeah.
you guys wouldn't even be here.
I was great friends, still am great friends with your Uncle Kevin when he was at the Chamber of Commerce. We were very close.
Yeah,
and-
good.
Yeah, I'm getting tired of hearing about how great Kevin
Oh, really?
is.
I didn't know you heard a lot. He's been away a little bit, so I didn't know you heard that.
He's
but
in
I think
sales
a lot
now.
of it-
Still loves the city. Just bought a
Yeah.
home in Lynn, so he's
great.
still here. Up in Ward 1, he's living there with his wife. A lot of good things
You
going on.
guys running that football team is a good plus for the city. Getting better athletes than the generals.
Yeah.
Kevin's involved.
Yeah,
Kevin
that's-
and Sean.
That's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun at times.
I was glad to see more North Shore and Lynn guys, some of the better players getting involved, be more
Yeah,
competitive.
it definitely took the team around, something else. We have about 5 minutes left in the program. I want to take some time to thank you guys for coming onto the show.
I love it. Thank you.
Guys, I think that we did a great job tonight for our first broadcast of Lynn Community Television 2015 citywide election results. We hope at home you guys enjoyed staying with us. We ask you to stay tuned. Jump onto social media, Lynn Community Television. You can find more information there. If you want to find more information, you can reach out to me on my cell phone, 339-440-0076. I'm Sean Donahue from the City Council Chamber, letting you know your City Councilor at larges are Buzzy Barton, Dan Cahill, Brian LaPierre, Hong Net. Your school committee members are going to be Lorraine Gately, Jared Nicholson, Donna Capola Ford, Maria Carrasco, and Patricia Capano. Then you've also got your ward councilors, Ward 1, 2, and 3, all incumbents. Wayne Losey's going to be in 1, Bill Trahanson 2, Darren Sierra in 3, Ward 4, Colucci ends up on top, Ariana Rosario. Ward 5, Diana Chakutis comes on top of Marvin Road, Ippolit. Ward 6, Peter Capano, the incumbent, is running close, and Ward 7, Jay Walsh ends up on top of Brian Field with 1,300 votes over his 689. Quite the election year. I want to say thank you to our viewership. I want to say thank you to our guests. And I want to say thank you to all those who have been involved and enabled us to come back on the air. Lynn Community Television is here to stay, and we're here to enable members like you to exercise your First Amendment right via broadcast media. That's it for the program. From the City Council chambers here in City Hall, I'm Sean Donahue, wishing you all the best. All right.
Thank you.
Great.
Cool.
Thank
Good
you.
job.
Yeah.
Bang, bang, boom.
Fun.